Well, hey, everybody. Thank you for coming in, tuning in. I know we've been kind of absent. We've been kind of absent on the podcast scene for the last couple of weeks. It's a little bit spooky outside, and we understand that we have to take a couple of steps. We have to understand what is going to be best for us, and we think that we're very, very excited for this next step that we're taking. I'm here with Dax Moreno. And Dax is a man that needs no introduction, but I'm going to let him do his own. And he's going to be my first guest on this new journey that we are going to be exploring San Antonio. What we like, what we love, what we wish we could see. I mean, I have a lot of love for San Antonio. I've been here all my life. I don't expect to leave. So I just want to bring people in who have that same love for this city. So Dax, without further ado, go ahead.
Thanks for having me, and I love the digs. I love the setup. This is legit. I really like it. I walked in and turned the corner. I was like, oh, okay. This is a lot better recording than my home office. So thank you for getting me out of the cave. So I'm the Chief Talent Officer for Tech Block, which is a nonprofit tech advocacy group here in San Antonio. We got about 5,000 plus members, tech companies and individuals that work in the tech sector in San Antonio. A lot of that work in community is focused on talent connections. I help people kind of get jobs here in San Antonio, recruit people to San Antonio, and I help out on our workforce development opportunities and economic development opportunities. My role was actually funded by the city and the county's economic development departments a couple of years ago. They realized they were not quite as in sync with the technology ecosystem, but it was really coming up. Lots of cool stuff was happening, lots of growth, and they realized they needed a little bit of a pulse on it. And that pulse turned out to be a throat to choke, and that's my throat to choke in terms of talking about technology, talking about talent and trends, and what we're seeing from knowledge workers and basically anybody within our labor pool and workforce, right? So that's high school students, college students. That's also inclusive of community college or anyone in that age range, all the way up to our experienced, seasoned executives, people that are senior leaders in software development, engineering, architecture, all that. I just try and help people connect to jobs here in San Antonio. So I love the city, born and raised here like you. I had a little bit of a spell in Los Angeles for a couple of years, helping a tech company grow out there. But even then, what I always kind of tell people is I think I was the only person probably in LA waking up at 6 a.m. so I could mentor people back in San Antonio when Techstars was here. So it never left my heart, right? It never left my attention. And the first moment that I could come back after accomplishing what we needed to accomplish with that tech company, I came back here and started just diving into the community, and that led to this role. So I'm really happy to be here to talk about these topics.
Happy to have you. And as always, we will be visited by, sound checked by, helped by our creative director, our own CNA's, Jenna Stotzenberger. And Jenna, this is the face of the person who produces all of our cool stuff here at CNA. Any video, any post, any GIF, any meme, it goes through the hands of Jenna. So if you dislike it, you know why. But
they won't.
They won't. But we're happy to have her as well. And we are accompanied by some treats. We have some sweetbreads or pan dulce. I know I sound like a Spanish teacher in the third grade, but I thought it would be only fitting to start the first podcast with one of the San Antonio staples of pan dulce, made famous through Mexican heritage, through Mexican culinary expertise, and of course a staple here in San Antonio. And we see a huge divergence of food. I started to just jump right into it, but we see a big divergence of food. We see a lot of people who absolutely spread their wings, and they just come out with these absolutely insane concepts. Supper was such a cool concept. I thought it was so cool to have kind of like a high-end, finer dining lunch experience, because you don't ever see that in lunch. And of course, there's La Familia Cortez, who has been pivotal in bringing food to kind of the hearts and minds of people. So I thought the only fitting way to do this would be to do it with this. Do you like pan dulce?
I do. I'm a big fan, and especially panaderia from right down the street on Houston Street downtown.
Yes, sir.
So that's a staple.
It is. It's a staple.
We're working there, yeah.
It's very, very good. I mean, I love it. I don't eat a lot of sweets, but when I do, it's going to be something like this.
I'm no stranger to sweets. So, at least for your audience here, I have a figure built for sweets and for tacos. So, I hope our conversation stays in the culinary realm.
You have meat on your bones. That's good. That is going to keep you warm in winter. Let's just say that.
That's right. That's right. The quarantine has been kind to my fiance.
I like
a lot of cuddling, a lot of just hanging out. So, yeah, it's good.
But I mean, we're traveling around the world culinarily in San Antonio. I mean, Houston has this amazing heritage of like Vietnam. You know, the Vietnamese population in Houston is just second to none. Their pho is inspirational, to say the least. And then we come to San Antonio, and a lot of people are just trying to like. Everyone always wants to take it a peg down. Like, you're trying to be Austin, you're trying to be Houston, you're trying to be Dallas. Like, what makes it us at this point in time? Just, is this us? Is this what we've been boxed into at this point?
I think, traditionally, yeah, it was really easy to just kind of like stereotype San Antonio food as like, great. You're going to get really great Mexican or Tex-Mex food, the sweetbreads, all that other stuff. And, the thing that's been interesting to me as we kind of dive into this next, what does the future hold for San Antonio? To me, I can never look forward until I kind of really fully look backwards and kind of understand what's going on. And I've seen an incredible surge over the last 5-10 years of our culinary scene kind of evolving, kind of beyond what we know as the staples of San Antonio, like really good food, the places you mentioned, even Panaderia. That's all come about in the last like decade. And I think it's somebody like Chef Johnny, from La Gloria, an amazing ambassador for San Antonio, but also someone who's like playing with cuisine and bringing this taste of Mexico and South America up even to our Tex-Mex tables here, and figuring out how to like interlace it with all these other openings of restaurants and scenes and pop-ups. Like, we're getting food trucks every other week now. We're getting these little scenes popping up, and I can't help but think like, the CIA developing out of the Pearl and inspiring a bunch of people, and so many of them finding a home here and wanting to explore and experiment. You bring up Houston. I love like Vietnamese and like that fusion and kind of meshing of that. We've got a great place here downtown called Pinch, and it's a guy who used to work in tech, came in here to San Antonio through this program that we work with called it's VFA, and he worked in tech and decided my real goal is to be an entrepreneur and open up a restaurant. And his buddy had been traveling around through Vietnam collecting recipes. He came back, they sat down, started doing pop-ups. We started hiring him to like make these banh mi sandwiches at all of our events. And then it turned into a restaurant. And now they're opening up a second location, Curry Boys Barbecue. So like shout out to Sean and Andrew, because and Sean actually got a big shout out on national press from Andrew Yang.
Really?
So Andrew Yang is the guy who created the VFA and president candidate, and he was in San Antonio and he talked about Sean from his conversation and said, this is a guy that's the future of America, is a guy like this who's going to school, doing good things, building community, and also wanting to pursue what he needs to pursue to be an entrepreneur and make a difference. And so Sean has brought this really cool fusion of Southeast Asian, his cooks in the back, the team he's brought together. There's a Laotian, a Filipino guy, it's awesome. And the food they make is delicious, but we're still at the very beginning.
Yeah.
We're not like where Houston is in terms of that full assimilation and like, there's like this really great cultural mixing pot there, but we've assimilated in our own way. And I think we're kind of on the path. We're not there yet. We're not at that big thing, but we've got a really cool scene that is starting to step beyond our normal tastes of, hey, who has the best fajitas? I only like the refried beans from this place. Like, and we get in arguments over, who's got the best molcajetes. Like, no, like there's next levels that can step beyond that stuff.
And it really is taking a leap of faith. And that's the most beautiful part to see.